today with a client who's had some knee issues for a long time. And it inspired me to make this video so that I can share it with you in terms of how we work to expand the available range of motion that he has. So when we think about available range of motion, most people think flexion extension. So what I want to share is the idea of rotation, right? You may or may not be familiar with rotating your knee. So with that, I'm going to have you refer to my knee cars video. So there's a whole tutorial on how to find that rotation, how to train it, how to move through it. So for today, we're going to focus on expanding that available range of motion. So things you may need, something like this where you can wedge your foot against it, like a stool, a desk, or a table. A yoga block or something to place between your knees to help make sure that your hips aren't doing the rotation for you. Something to slide on, so a towel, like slider if you've got it, but a towel on a wood floor or tile floor will work perfectly fine. This is just here for added stability for radiating tension, which again, if you're not familiar with, is the idea of creating force in your body so that your body is effectively working against itself. Or in this case, we're going to be working against the support there. So with our initial setup for rails again is the idea of isometric fighting out of a stretch. Rails is the idea of pulling ourselves deeper into the stretch. We're going to set up like this. We're going to place our foot flat against the surface, whatever it is that we're going to be working against. Block is going to go between our knees. Whatever we're using, this could be a chair, it could be a stool, it could be anything that you can push down through. You're going to place your foot flat against that surface. From there, our only goal is to rotate our body around the knee. So there's going to be a spot, of course, where ankle will contribute, but we want to find that sweet spot where we start to feel the stretch in our knee. Forgive the ashy knees. It's, changing of seasons here. So once you find that stretch, we would sit here for 2 minutes, right? The idea of 2 minutes is the idea that tissue, the stuff around your knee, is preparing to receive the force that we're going to put through it. Long story short, we're getting this tissue and getting your brain focused on that spot, okay? So when we start to do our pails, which is fighting out of the stretch, right? We're pushing down through the floor and we're squeezing the stuff where we feel that stretch, effectively trying to push our forefoot into whatever we're fighting against, okay? So with that, first round through, we ramp up to around 50% and hold that for 30 seconds. When I say ramp up, it's the idea that you slowly squeeze a little bit harder as you go, but not so hard that you feel like you're gonna break your own knee off. Holding that for 30 seconds, then we switch to the other side where we actively pull ourselves deeper. So imagine I'm gonna try to pull my forefoot or my whole leg away from here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to absorb that space by rotating my whole body around that more. So you can see my kneecap is pointing towards in this case, the reformer, but my shin bone and my foot is still pointing towards you, right? So I've pulled myself into that position. I'm going to relax and rest into that position now. So I'm going to breathe, relax, let that heart rate come down, because when you do those squeezes, the heart rate really does come up pretty high. From there, we're going to take it up higher. As our heart rate comes down, we're going to raise that intensity even more. So now we're going to push down through our tools. We're squeezing into the block. We're fighting into our surface. 20%, gradually turning up the temperature, turning up the volume. 40, 60, 80, and your greatest, safest effort. So that's as hard as you can push without hurting yourself. Fight, 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 fight. 10 seconds. With 3 seconds to go, we're gonna take a breath, and then we're gonna pull ourselves deeper. Holding for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, slowly relax. Now don't come out, right? We want to spend some time in that newly acquired range of motion, right? You can see my kneecap pointing out further towards the former. My foot is pointing towards you, and it's a little bit more relaxed, but we're making sure that we're still feeling that stretch. After about 30 seconds to a minute, heart rate starts to calm down. You can slowly back out. Now you can repeat that if you feel like you need more space, but putting that Off to the side, we move to the slider, right? Towel, whatever it is that you're using. So now, again, our range of motion isn't going to be massive, but we want to find this, which is our knee car again. So finding that rotation and squeezing the stuff. So this would have been your rails, your second squeeze. This would be your pales, your first squeeze, right? So you found those tissues, you connected to them, you connected your brain to those tissues. So once we found that rotation, now we're gonna slide out and slide back in. So extend the knee in external rotation, flex the knee in internal rotation. External out, internal in, and then you're gonna reverse, internal in, external out. What that should feel like is like you've got a little bit more space. But one of the most important things that happens is when that knee has enough space to rotate, it actually flexes and extends easier. You're gonna have more space in your knee, you're gonna have less cracking, less thunking, and then you also strength trained the connective tissue that surrounds and stabilizes your knee. So, if this was helpful, let me know in the comments. If you have something that is like a condition, I would highly recommend before trying this, getting checked out. So if you have an ACL tear, if you have a current knee issue or even a past knee injury, it's probably better to get checked out before you try this stuff. But if you're gonna try it, try to stay within safe ranges of motion. Make sure you are not pushing through pain in any of this. All right, I appreciate you, and I hope to see you again soon.